just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right, this is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 226. And happy Independence Day, July 4th. The Knicks and Nets trade official. It goes down, and Shake Milton is the guy that gets it done. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz. Make sure you listen and subscribe, YouTube, the whole deal. I'm Alex. I'm personally just happy that this is all done. We don't have to wait, figure out what's coming next. This and that. We've known about the trade basically for a week plus, but now it's official. So kudos. Mikal Bridges is a Knick. Nets have every pick of the Knicks, and both teams are set for their future in very different ways, but at least both teams obviously can talk about it now. So good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, we were sort of all in this purgatory state of we made the trade, but is Deuce going to be in the trade? But only these three players can be in the trade. You know, we still saw this from these podcasters or reporters or these capologists, quote unquote, of this is the only people that can do it, and a sign and trade, and now Alec Burks is gone and went to Miami, and this is all that we can do, you know, to get it done. And they might have to include Deuce. And that was like a legitimate rumor. And like, it might have to be Deuce. It's going to be Deuce. And then that takes on steam, and no Knicks fan wants to deal him. And Nets fans are like, oh, this would be great, you know?
Of course.
And it's just, you know, I would be like, that's insane to give up that many picks and Deuce and Bogdanovich. Like, get the hell out of here, man. Right. Like, you know, figure it out. That's enough, you know? And, you know, sure enough, it was enough. And, you know, even if the capologists and the podcasters and the reporters, they had no idea. But Shake Milton and Diakite, I don't know, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. You know, he never played for the Knicks. He was on the team and played some garbage minutes, whatever, signed at the end of the year. And a couple 10 days and then converted and had the front row seat to the playoffs. So, you know, good for him. Got paid. Goes to the Brooklyn, and you know he can dunk, so you might get some fun dunks in there. He's a high flyer kind of a guy, and Shake Milton, yeah, it might be some fun dunk of somebody, you know, like Gerald Green kind of play for you that you'll remember forever. Yeah. But you know, Shake Milton, you know, so you have to get why a lot of these people were saying that these experts, quote unquote, I'll put in air quotes and use it the correct way, that they couldn't make a sign and trade was because it had to be a 3-year deal. If you do a sign and trade, you have to sign for 3 years in order for it to happen. But the loophole that these people, podcasters, reporters, capologists were missing is that you can sign for 1 year guaranteed and make the next 2 non-guaranteed. It's essentially a 1 year deal. You're going to kick them to the curb in a year or trade them in the middle of the season. So exactly. That's why I'm just like, stop trying to guess what these teams are going to do with the cap. You know what I mean? Guess like what player could be moved with the contracts and this and that. Fine. But don't just tell me like, well, these MLE and this amount of. You gotta miss me with that, man. I can't take that anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things with this, right? When the deal went down initially, the trade was in place. I mean, the core of this trade is Mikal Bridges going to the Knicks. The 5 first-round draft picks, 4 from the Knicks, 1 from the Bucks, and the 1 swap pick and Bogdanovich. That's the core of the trade. To make it official, you need to put these other elements in place. So there was a handshake deal from Leon Rose and from Sean Marks that this is the trade. We'll find the other piece. You can guarantee that Deuce McBride was never in part of that. Now, let's say that Deuce McBride was part of this trade. There would be 2 less draft picks.
Oh, for sure.
Whatever. Yeah. Like that would be the trade. So what happens is, and I fell for it too in my own right, was that because time takes place, they go, here's the options of how it could happen. Deuce McBride, because of his contract, is eligible to be part of this piece that makes the trade work. And I don't blame Net fans for being excited when they hear this, especially when things take a longer time. You see Alec Burks come off the books. You hear that Precious Achiuwa doesn't want anything to do with getting traded. So the fantasy begins. that was a delusional moment from Net fans where I will say, yes, I was delusional to think that was possible. But I can't, on the other hand, have Knick fans being like, oh, we got you on another one. Like, no, that it wasn't like Leon Rose took a master class and said, oh, yeah, we got you again. That was never part of the trade. So that wasn't something that was happening. Like, oh man, Sean Marks and Leon Rose were talking, and he convinced him not to take Deuce McBride, but to take guys that we don't know we don't even know who they are. No, the trade was in place. It happened, and now we move on. Now, if you want to have a conversation about was this a good trade for the Knicks? Was this a good trade for the Nets? It's the same trade that we could talk about a week ago. I think you and I have both had time to digest it. And also, other teams have made moves. The Bucks acquired Taurean Prince. Didn't think I was going there first. The Sixers acquired Paul George, right?
The Warriors got Buddy Hill healed. Yeah.
But I'm talking about the Eastern Conference.
I'm kidding. I'm giving you a meaningless move. I'm sorry. Joke didn't work. I'm sorry.
Yes, correct. There's no masterclass by Leon Rose. This is the trade. And this is my opinion on this. And I've had time. It sucks that the Knicks are a team. I'm going to give perspective here that I really believe.
Collect your thoughts. You're like, it's just like
I really believe is fair because I do think the Knicks are one of the teams. I don't think they're the clear-cut favorite. I don't think it's like, oh, it's the Knicks and everybody else.
No.
The Knicks are in the mix to come out of the Eastern Conference. 100% fact. Can't argue that. You also can't argue that they overpaid to get a player. The value back that the Nets got was very good. Very, very good. Historically good. Both are true. So with that in mind, if you're a Knicks fan, you got to be happy. We got Mikal Bridges. We're going for a championship. Bingo. Nets, we're out of purgatory. We've got flexibility. We've got our draft picks back. We have all the Knicks capital back. We can now rebuild. Both are true. Who won the trade? Unfortunately, it could be like if the Knicks win a title in 2 years this year, and then the Nets rebuild and are a title contender, they both won the trade. I mean, this could be a trade, Alex, that helps both teams. It could. Or Mikal Bridges, in my opinion, which I think you'll see in real time, is not going to be what you expect. And the Knicks will fall flat. And the Nets, probably won't rebuild. I don't know. But you don't know what's going in what direction. But I can say with certainty, the haul the Nets got back for a guy that's never been an all-star is a historic value. And you cannot argue me on that. It just is. They've got back 6 first-round picks for somebody that has never been an all-star. And I understand the nuance, which is why I think it's okay for the Knicks because they can win the title. But you can't tell me what the Nets got in return is like, well, the picks will be late. It's not that simple.
Did you think Mikal Bridges would be an all-star last year in the future?
I was very hopeful that he would be, and he falls.
You thought he would be
very, very, very flat of expectations.
Do you think he would be? He can be an all-star sometime in the future.
I think he has the potential to be an all-star. I don't think he's the kind of guy that. I don't think he's a perennial all-star, but I do think he could put it on his resume. Like Mikal Bridges' 13-year career ends. He had an all-star there, but he's not Paul George.
Like a John Starks all-star, an Oakley all-star.
Yes,
got the one in the big year.
Jason Williams all-star.
Right,
but not Paul George all-star. Not Jalen Brunson, who's going to accumulate the all-stars. James Harden. He's not going to have them on his list because he's just there every year. But yes, I do think it's possible for him to be an all-star. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, but there is a chance that let me rewind.
Sure.
When you said that if the Knicks win a title in 2 years and then the Nets build a contender, and like, let's say they don't win, the Knicks won the trade. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no like, yeah, well, they both won the trade. If you win a championship, but honestly,
I disagree. Because if it was anybody but the Knicks, let's say the Nets were rebuilding and they did this with the Bucks and the Bucks got over the top and won the title, but the Nets rebuilt, you'd be like, God bless you, Milwaukee. You did it. But the Nets now have a chance to be great. But because they're in the same market, it changes the rules. which I understand, and which is why I was upset with the trade in the first place and all of it. But you're setting a different set of rules that make it because they're in the same market. If this was Milwaukee, if this was the Clippers, if this was any other
Phoenix,
team,
wherever.
Phoenix,
Yeah.
then you'd be like, all right, Phoenix won a title, but we rebuilt. Who gives a fuck? But because it's the Knicks, it's different. And I wouldn't say that they won the trade. I would just say it ruined my life. How about that?
That's fine. And
That's my honest answer.
In the middle of when I was saying that, I kind of caught myself because I was a contradiction for a second. So let me step back. So you're making a good point because, let me pat you on the back there, because I always talk about the Kwame Brown trade, Pau Gasol for Kwame Brown. Everybody's like, it's Pau Gasol for Kwame Brown. The Lakers won 2 more titles with Kobe, with Pau Gasol, but Pau Gasol was traded for his brother, Marc Gasol. And he is the best player in franchise history for the Memphis Grizzlies. They had perennial playoff team. They never won a title, but they knocked on the door a couple times. And you can say that trade was pretty close to even. Yes, the Lakers won 2 titles. Obviously, they won it all. Like they won the trade, I guess, but it wasn't the landslide, the rant that launched Stephen A's career to what it is now, that he can't play, he's trash, whatever. I get that, but at the same time, it's really hard for me to think that your trade, like in that trade, you got a player back, right? You got a player back in Marc Gasol. In this deal, you got a bunch of picks from the Knicks. Like if they become a perennial title contender, aren't going to be worth shit. Like, yeah, you could draft Kawhi Leonard in the middle of the first. You could draft whoever in the 20s. You could draft Jokic, right? Late in the first or the early second, whenever you went. You know what I'm saying? But to say that these picks, because I know you got your picks back from Houston, and that helps, I guess. You know what I mean? In the other trade, but that's not the Knick trade. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it gave you the ability to do that, I guess. But at the same time, like I can't fathom that you might win the trade down the road if you got a bunch of picks in the 20s and the Knicks are winning perennial, like, or a perennial contender, and even if they don't win a championship. Because this is a trade that gave the Knicks a second 3-and-D wing and one that stays healthy. You know what I mean? So, like, they're going to have Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges on the outside guarding the wings. Like, that is, like, unheard of in this era to have that kind of defensive power on the outside. Dude. And you have Jalen Brunson, you have a killer, and you have Mitchell Robinson, who, if he stays healthy, which is another big if, he's a defensive player of the year candidate, all defensive player of the year candidate. You know what I mean? So all defense team candidate. He was on his way last year for that. He just can't. He just get these freak injuries. He's like Marcus Camby, where I'm hoping that at some point, like when he got to Denver, Marcus Camby, that it all clicked and he stayed healthy and led the league in blocks. You know what I mean? And kept going. Because when he was at the Knicks, he kept getting hurt, kept getting hurt. It was just like, all right, enough. The Knicks were like, enough. It was a stupid trade. But maybe they're holding on to Mitch and saying, this is where we go. We're going to see you take that step here. It's not a back injury. It's not knees with Mitchell Robinson. And I just feel that I can't buy that because there wasn't a trade. Unless you're telling me Shake Milton turns around or Bogdanovich turns into a 35-point per game scorer and leads you to the promised land. You know what I'm saying? But that's not going to happen. I mean, he's really good and he's going to get you those 20s like a game like he did in Detroit and get those garbage time stats. But at the same time, it's like I can't really compare it to the Lakers Grizzlies, but I see what you're saying that we don't know yet.
It's not about the actual draft order of the picks. It's about restoring order to the franchise. The Nets right now had nothing going for them. They traded a player. Now, for your position, and that's what I keep saying, Alex, I'm not saying it's a bad trade for the Knicks in the sense of they can go for it. You make really good points about what he can do for your franchise, how he can help your team. You've got a guy that is a very good player that can help your franchise, help them get over the top. I'm not disagreeing with that. But if you look at the history of trades that have happened with all-star level to Hall of Fame players, they have never been given this many first-round picks. Yes, the picks right now, in theory, aren't good. At this point, they aren't, but that's going to change. In 7 years, things will be different. When the Nets made the trade with the Celtics years ago and they got Pierce and Garnett, it won't matter. Picks ended up being good.
It's different, though, because those guys were 35 years old and just got smacked in the first round by the Knicks.
When the Nets and the Rockets made the trade and the Nets got Harden, was everybody like, the Rockets won't be good. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not done yet.
I'm not saying COVID's
Well,
going to hit and Kyrie is going to be blow up the Knicks. You know what I mean? That's
I'm
like a
not
different
done.
special situation.
I'm not done yet,
Yeah.
by the way. When
Yeah,
the
go
Bucks traded Damian Lillard, was everybody like, the Portland Trailblazers got all the Bucks assets. They won't be good in 3 to 4 years. Do you think the Bucks are going to be good in 3-4 years, Alex?
I mean, if Giannis is still there, sure.
You think the Bucks are going to be good in 3 to 4 years?
Not because of Dame. Not because of Dame.
The point is the picks will gain value. The Nets now got a return for a guy that has never been an all-star. And you can blame Brooklyn, and you can blame that it was a shitty season. He still has never been a motherfucking all-star. I'm sorry. At some point, you have to take some on your chest and say, it's on me. I am the person. I can't look at my situation and be like, well, it was tough. Mikal Bridges, when he wasn't playing well and had bad games, went like this. Twitter fingers. Oh, Net fans are so mean. Oh, Net fans are so mean. You think Net fans are mean? When shit goes down for Mikal Bridges, it's going to be 18 times motherfucking harder in New York with the Knicks. So enough of this Twitter finger shit when things were tough with the Nets. It's going to be difficult there when things don't go your way, Mikal. I can't hear the talking out of both sides of your mouth. No, Nets got a very nice return from Mikal Bridges. And I will say this again, Alex. I'm not talking about who won the trade. I don't know that because the Nets have set themselves up to have a potential for a future. I do think the Knicks have added somebody that makes sense for them to win games and be a team that can win a championship with Mikal Bridges. I'm not denying that. And I'm not saying that means win or lose trades. That would just be a really, 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 really annoying for me. But all at the same time, the Nets got themselves in a better position. The Knicks wouldn't trade 3 picks, 4 picks. They wouldn't trade 3 picks and Emmanuel quickly for Donovan Mitchell. So I can't hear on the back end that trading 6 for Mikal Bridges is not a big deal. It's a
different timeline now.
Yes,
different timeline now.
Yes, they're better now.
That was before Jalen Brunson took off.
There has never been in the
that was before Jalen Brunson took off. And I thought they should have made that trade.
There has never been in the history of the NBA that many first-round draft picks traded for somebody that is the level of Mikal Bridges. That is a motherfucking fact. Don't deny that. That is a fact.
Hang the banner, dude. What do you want me to say? Hang the banner. You got all these first-round picks. Who gives a shit? The Knicks might win a championship. Guess what? The Nets have all these first-round picks. Yes. You know what that means? That's fucking air. That is air. They got air. They got words on a paper that they have these picks. And congratulations. Well, you know what that equals? Nothing. That doesn't equal anything. You might win something. You may get something. You might have a little piece of a chance of a glimmer of hope. Oh, it might happen. But guess what could happen now? Guess what could happen right now, Mike? What can happen this year? What can happen this year? What can happen next year? What can happen the year after that? Mike, tell me. No, I want you to tell me. Tell me what. No. Tell me. What can happen?
I won't.
The Knicks can win a championship.
The beautiful thing about this conversation is the Knicks can win a championship. Hold on.
The Knicks can win a championship.
And the Knicks win a championship, Mike.
Yes, I said that. And was Mikal Bridges one of the last pieces to win a championship?
See, you are.
Would you trade 6 first-round picks for a championship, Mike?
Of course I would.
Okay, so then what the fuck are you talking about?
See, what I'm talking about is
so then how do you fucking win this thing? How do you say like, we got all these picks and we can revamp our franchise? Who gives a fuck? You got air. You got air. I've been in that position.
I'm so glad that I was able to get this reaction from you because you started this podcast with your dick in your head, and at least I was able to bring it out and you put it out on the show.
Good.
Because I was able to get you to react and think, yes, you're right. And the first thing I said on this episode was, you can win a championship. You can win I didn't deny that.
So you're manipulating. It's a coping mechanism for you. Yes, it is. Because you're like, we got these picks. We revamped our franchise. Look what we did. We got all these. We got bad. It was so hard to get bad. Who would have thought that we could get bad? You know how you can get bad? You could have traded Mikal Bridges. You could have gotten your picks back last year, and then you wouldn't have had to give them to. But
here's the best part of this conversation.
Exactly.
You haven't won anything. You're doing a podcast with me, and you're excited about it. You haven't done shit. Like
the season hasn't started yet.
You're excited about it, but you haven't won anything. And I appreciate you at least giving me some.
Could the Knicks have won the championship last year if they were healthy?
No, they would not. They would not have beaten.
Could. The question is could.
The answer was no, and I'll say it the second time. If you want to ask me again, I'll say it again.
So you think So you think there was no chance they could have won a championship?
They would have lost to Boston.
Okay,
yes, they would have
that's your
lost to
opinion.
Boston.
Fine,
Yeah,
fine. That's your
well,
opinion.
you just asked me. I gave the opinion.
That's,
Do you
and
want
I'm
to
giving you the,
again?
and I'm saying fine. I don't think that you're being truthful. I don't think you're being truthful.
No,
I think that there's a chance that the Knicks could have beaten Boston. If you think there was no chance,
no, they would have lost.
I said could.
They
so you think 0% chance the Knicks could have beaten Boston fully healthy.
Beat Indiana.
They weren't
But
fully
Alex,
healthy.
The problem with the Knicks is
they weren't fully healthy.
OG Anunoby is never healthy. Mitchell Robinson is never healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're seeing that Jalen Brunson has an issue with history. I mean, he couldn't stay on the court. He broke his hand at the end.
Mm-hmm.
There will be problems with their health again. I'm just very happy.
And with the Denver Nuggets, they were never healthy, right? A couple years in a row, they weren't healthy. Michael Porter Jr. was never healthy. No. Let me finish. No, Michael Porter Jr. was never healthy.
Is there
Jamal Murray was never healthy? Guess what? They got healthy.
They don't have that kind of talent.
Guess what? Oh, okay. They don't have Jokic. They don't have the top end talent. But guess what? They have a team. They have a team that can win a championship. And if they stay healthy, they can win a championship. And that scares you. That's why you're coping. And you're saying, we gave up 6 picks. We got 6 picks. Guess what? We got 6 picks. An all-star. He's not an all-star. Can he be an all-star? No, I don't know. Guess what? They can. They can win a championship, Mike.
Here's something that's going to hurt.
They can win a championship.
Coping is the new thing for people that don't know how to give an opinion.
I gave my opinion.
You just people that say you're coping say you.
I gave my opinion.
I'll give my opinion.
I think you're lying to yourself. You want me to say that,
Alex?
I think you're lying to yourself.
How am I lying to myself by me just saying I think the Knicks can win a title and also saying I think the Nets got better? How is that me coping? Coping
because
would
you're saying
no. Now
you're twisting. Now you're twisting.
No, not twisting. Making good points and having an inability to respond to it. Coping would be me saying the Knicks can't win a championship. They're not good enough. I just said that acquiring Mikal Bridges puts them in the conversation to do so. I'm not going to sit here and be like, they're the favorite, but that's
not what I'm saying you're coping about. I'm saying you're coping about the trade being so amazing for the Nets because there hasn't been a trade in history for 6 first-round picks.
But I
that's
think
context. That's taking it without context.
I think the problem Knicks fans have is they want to poop on the Nets so badly. So the idea that maybe the Nets did okay in the trade too is very hard for them. Just like right now, it's very hard for the Knicks fans when I say, hey, the Sixers got better, right? The Sixers got better with Paul George on their team. A lot of Knicks fans, because they don't like seeing the Sixers get a little attention, are now putting it on. Well, you know what? Paul George is never healthy, and all the other attributes that come with it.
Embiid choking every fourth quarter in the playoffs, never getting out of the second round,
but
not being good, not staying healthy.
But
they're paper champions.
I think
that's what you're saying.
Do
you think the Sixers can win a championship?
Yes.
See, that's where you're just not fair. You're just not being fair.
How is that not
fair?
You
don't think the Knicks. Can I tell you?
No, you can't. I'm going to talk first. Has Embiid?
So then I'll just talk over you. That's what we're doing here.
No.
Okay. Because I said, could the Knicks beat the Celtics? And you said no.
Not
0
last
chance.
year.
So you're saying now this year in the future,
Boston,
the Sixers can win a championship.
I think they're a bit. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
the Celtics are the same team, right?
They are.
So then you think that the Sixers got that much better with Paul George, who's never healthy.
But I also
Embiid, who's never healthy and never been past the second round.
Alex, I also think the Knicks can do it. I'm telling you, I'm on this goddamn.
But they couldn't last year if they were healthy.
Not last year.
See, that's where I don't think you're being fair. That's where I don't think.
But the beautiful part of it is you can't, and there's nothing like.
And it's your opinion. It's fine.
There's nothing you can do to prove me wrong.
Of course not.
Nothing.
Of course not.
Nothing.
But I can have my opinion about your opinion.
Did the Celtics?
I'm allowed to have my opinion about your opinion.
I don't know. Maybe not. Did the Celtics lose last year? The Celtics literally did not lose.
Who did they play in the playoffs, dude? It was come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Tell me who they beat. An injured Heat.
Right? Oh, I know. I'm just saying they didn't lose, and they didn't have Porzingis, and they still steamrolled.
An injured Bucks, right?
Without the team that actually played them the toughest was the Pacers.
Right, and an injured Heat, an injured Pacers. The Pacers got swept. How did they give them the toughest matchup? They got swept.
From watching the games,
yeah,
they lost every game at the last second. They should have won all those games.
Did they win?
No, but I didn't say that. I said
so they could have won, right? Series. They could have won that series. So Alex, you think the Pacers could have beat the Celtics?
I came on this podcast. I came on this podcast and said, yes, the Knicks
you're just
can win
mixing up your words.
No, I'm not
saying.
Yeah, it's really difficult for Knicks fans to admit that the Knicks had a good deal and the Nets got a good deal.
I'm not saying the Net. No, I'm not saying.
But I don't. Nets... I think that's.
See, I can't talk.
Okay. No, you can't.
See, then you don't want to have a conversation. You don't want to hear the other side.
Correct. I just want to talk.
Exactly.
The Knicks
and now you're
had a
just,
good deal.
so
the Knicks got a good deal.
You said this
and
already.
The Nets
you're repeating yourself.
I know, but I have to make sure that you understand it.
I
Unfortunately,
understand
it's taking multiple times.
I understand
that goes for the 27 other Knicks fans that listen.
Am I allowed to talk now?
You want to do rock, paper, scissors, shoot for it?
Okay. I'm just saying.
Rock, scissors, paper, whatever it is.
I'm just saying. Like, honestly, where I think you're being unfair, I'll start there. Where I think you're being unfair is for you to say it's such a, how do I phrase this?
I don't know how to help.
I'm asking myself, talking to myself.
Gotcha. I thought it was you asking me.
No. So I'm saying, like, and I love you, Mike. Don't worry about it. So I'm saying that you're saying Mikal Bridges, right? Mikal Bridges, right? I had a couple glasses of rosé, and I'm really you got me kind of angry. So I'm saying that you're saying that there's never been an all-star.
What was the rosé, by the way? What was the brand?
I think Whispering Angel.
By the way, I know Whispering Angel, and you have texted me this. You say when we're in arguments, I will do these tactics where I distract you. I'm doing one, so just aware of that. All right.
That's what you do. I know, and that's why you kept repeating yourself and cutting me off because you didn't want me to get your point and get
Whispering
one
Angel, $18.99 for a bottle can. Go for
it. So the Knicks traded a bunch of picks and got a player that can help them win a championship, something they haven't done in forever.
51
something
years.
The Nets have never done, right?
Correct.
So they're trying to do that, right? And in that time, the Knicks are going to be good for a couple of years, right?
Agreed.
Let's say 5 years, right?
I don't know. I don't think that's
possible. Know. Now you don't know.
I don't.
Do you think the Knicks are going to re-sign Jalen Brunson?
Yes, but I don't think.
Okay. Do you think they're going to be good as long as they have Jalen Brunson?
I think in today's NBA.
Can you answer my questions?
No.
You don't think they'll be good with Jalen Brunson?
Alex, I'm going to answer it how I want to answer it. I'm
trying to get to a point here, and you don't want to answer it because you know that you're wrong. So that's why you're trying to now you're manipulating. This is what we're doing here.
I think in 5 years from now, it's impossible to guess how good the Knicks could be.
I'm asking you about Jalen Brunson.
I don't know.
Are the Knicks a playoff team as long as they have Jalen Brunson?
In 5 years from now, he might not be the same player.
In 5 years from now, how old is Jalen Brunson?
I think he's 27-ish.
Jalen Brunson age. Let's see.
But I think OG and
not a move
5 years.
He's 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, right? So in 5 years when he's 32 years old, he'll be cooked? Is that what you're saying, Jalen Brunson?
He won't be cooked, but I think in 5 years from now, he won't. Well, actually, his game.
How old is Paul George, Mike? How old is Paul George?
34.
Okay, so he's older and he's fine, right?
He's fine. Player. He's an all-time player.
So Jalen Brunson in 5 years won't be an all-time player if he's an all-star every year for 5 years?
Man, he could. He has a possibility.
And he wins a championship with the Knicks?
He has a possibility to be.
Right.
I don't know.
What has Paul George won? What has Paul George won? Has Paul George ever been to the finals?
In 5 years. So Alex,
he's a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying he's not.
Alex,
I'm just saying you're telling me that Jalen Brunson will be cooked at 32, but Paul George at 34 is fine.
Now, I don't know.
I'm just saying. I'm just using your logic. This is your logic.
In
I'm just
5 years from now, I don't know how good the Knicks will be. I have no idea. Things change so fast.
I'm asking about Jalen Brunson. That's what I'm asking about.
Hey, Mike, how good will Kyrie be in 5 years?
Kyrie, I think he'll be done because he's older.
In 5 years from now, I don't know. I think in 5 years from now, the Knicks window will be done. No, I'm saying if this was 5 years ago when they signed him, in 5 years from now, I think the Knicks window will be over.
Okay.
I think
and that's your opinion. Brunson. So I think as long as Jalen Brunson's on the Knicks, and I have no reason to believe that he'll ever be gone because he wants to be here and he wants to win. I don't know where Leon Rose is going to be in 5 years, and I don't know how the team's going to change in 5 years. But I think it's fair to assume that Jalen Brunson will be here as a lifelong Knick.
Agreed. I agree. So I can't tell you in 5 years I don't think the Knicks will have the same window they do now. That's all.
But my point is not about the Knicks. My point is about Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is a superstar, right? Okay. So in 5 years from now, if he's still on the team, right, they're going to be in the playoffs for the most part. Barring injury or whatever happens. And that.
No.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Okay. Well, you can't because you don't want to lose an argument. So you can't. Because in 5 years from now, that's when the Nets will have the Knicks unprotected picks and these 2031 picks.
Honestly, in 5 years from now, I hope those picks have been dealt because the Nets already rebuilt. Seriously. Okay. I do. No. That's not an okay. I mean that. In 5 years from now,
that's a smart strategy. That's a smart strategy.
I hope those.
If you want to not wait 10, do the process.
I'm serious.
That's actually a smart strategy.
I hope in 3 years from now, the Nets drafted young players, and those picks were then traded to add a younger player to make a bigger court. I swear to God, that's what I hope.
Okay. That's fair. That's a fair strategy. No, I believe that
the Nets are in 5 years being like, God, I
hope these Knicks picks.
No, I would be pissed.
That's what I'm talking about.
But the point. Picks are assets, man. They're not just about the picks. They're not just about the picks. And I don't know.
But then what are the value of these picks? If in the next 2 or 3 years, the Knicks are going to be really good, right? The Knicks, they have the 25 pick for the Knicks, right? So you assume that's going to be in the 20s, right? That's not going to change the franchise.
Number. This is where
right? No. You have Milwaukee's pick, but Milwaukee's going to be good because they're going to be healthy. So that's in the 20s. So congrats to that. In 27, that's now in 3 years. The Knicks will probably still be good. That's going to be another pick that's in the 20s.
I'm embarrassed for you right now.
How are you embarrassed?
I'm embarrassed. We've done a lot of these episodes. I'm actually embarrassed.
Okay.
Because it's not about that. If you were to tell me to the Rockets the same thing, and I said, well, how good would your picks be? It ended up being the third pick in the draft.
It's completely different because the Nets had a bunch of over 30-year-old players that they were giving up long-term picks for. How do you not see the difference?
But Alex, the
Knicks are all in their late 20s, dude.
Alex, the difference
the Knicks are all in their mid to late 20s, dude. That's the difference. How do you not get that? That's where I'm saying you're coping. Because you're not understanding age. But you're blindly ignoring age, and then you're telling me Paul George at 34 is going to be great.
It's not.
Win a championship.
It's not.
Would win a championship.
You could call it coping to me, and I'll just rephrase it to you that not understanding the NBA. And unfortunately,
now I don't understand the NBA. Yeah,
there's levels of it. There's levels of sports. NBA intelligence. Some people have it.
Now you change the subject because you.
No, it's not changing the subject, but there's a history of how this happens. And unfortunately, things change where you can say from now in this vacuum, yes, those picks in 17 years from now, they're still going to be great. But unfortunately, things change really fast. And I have experience in that too many times to tell you.
I lived through the Isaiah Thomas era. And I wasn't 12 years old. I wasn't 10 years old. I was in my 20s. I was in my 20s. I lived through it. Okay. And I remember everything. And I remember them dealing these picks and saying, what the fuck are we doing? Because you know what? They didn't already have a Jalen Brunson. They didn't already have a team that was ready to win a championship. Can I finish, please? Can I finish a point? Are we going to have a conversation here or I'll just shut this fucking podcast off? Because I'm not really able to talk here. You're talking over every time I get rolling on a point. You shut me off. So, I want to talk here. That's not true.
You had two really good points about 8 minutes ago. I disagree with that.
So, my point is that in the Isaiah Thomas era, I hated all these trades because they were giving up tons of picks. Besides the Marbury trade, which I loved because I thought he was going to be a superstar, and I was wrong about that. So, every other trade, what are we doing? We're giving up all these picks for Eddie Curry's and Jamal Crawford's and all these guys that are okay, but not good, and they weren't even a good team yet, right? Now, the Knicks are knocking on the door as a championship-level team when healthy. Maybe they wouldn't have won a title, but they were a championship-level team this year, and they've been to the second round of the playoffs 2 years in a row, and now they give up their future to go all in and win championships.
I agree.
And multiple. They're trying to win a championship, but they are putting themselves in position to win multiple. That's what I'm saying.
Agreed.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I
how much are these picks really going to be worth when you go to trade them when they're all in the 20s? When the teams are looking at you saying, hey, I want to deal these Knicks picks, and they're going to be like, why would I want the fucking Knicks picks?
Because
they're in the late 20s. Oh, so you might get some Spencer Dinwiddie kind of player.
They won't.
Come on, man. So you think you're going to get a superstar with those picks?
Alex, it's not about the picks and where they're going to land. It's about the rebuild for the future. Let me ask from my perspective.
The value of a pick is where they land.
Alex, you put
the
your
value
hand
of a pick is where they land.
From my perspective, if I told you the Nets traded 6 first-round picks for the Milwaukee Bucks, what would you say?
To the Milwaukee Bucks, I would say that's a good deal because Giannis is older and Dame is fucking old as hell.
Okay. If I said they did that for the Phoenix Suns, what would you say? The Minnesota
I'd say that's a bad trade because that's a good trade because the Suns are old. Because the Suns are. I misspoke, dude.
Alex,
you keep talking over me. You're not letting me talk.
It's not my problem. You're misspeaking. I mean, do a better job.
I corrected myself a half a second later, but you were ready to run down.
That's two times you've done it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is. No, it is exactly.
No, I know. And you're trying to troll me to get me angry because you can't prove your point right.
No.
Yeah, that's it.
No. What happens is
you're wrong, and that's all.
Disagree.
And then you cut me off.
Rose Alex doesn't like when I have good points and can't take it.
No, you don't like the fact that every time I get rolling on a point, you cut me off.
Get rolling on a point. I've told you it was a good deal for the Nets. They traded a high-end role player for 6
I'm not saying
picks.
it wasn't a good deal for the Nets. I'm saying that you're acting like it's like they revamped their franchise by dealing the best player on the team
Let's
and
come to a compromise.
to the Knicks and helping them win a championship.
Let's come to a compromise. I agree with you on the Knicks stuff. I don't like it, and I'm not going to pretend I don't. I agree with you.
No, and I know that.
It was the best. It was the best deal the Nets could ever get for a value of him.
That's fair.
So that's the end of the conversation.
As far as picks value wise, sure. But what I'm saying is that
you're looking. Well, then we're done.
It's not the end of. Okay.
Then we're good. You just answered my question. Could the Nets get more?
So I answer your questions, and that's it. That's the end of the conversation. Shut the podcast off. But when I'm asking you questions, you don't answer the questions.
All right, let's go.
That's how this podcast has gone.
It's been a really good one for me personally. Let's go for it.
Has it?
I think so. I would say if we were to do a poll right now, I would say that there will be people that vote for you, but it's out of respect for how good of a podcaster you are.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But I would say I probably won this episode. Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
You don't think so?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. And I don't think that you thinking like there's context to every trade. If you look at it in a vacuum in black and white and say, look at all these picks that we got. And it's not the same. It's not, you're comparing apples to oranges.
I love apples. I love oranges. Yeah, I agree.
And you do this. You talk over me and you do this.
Okay, I will stop. I apologize. Sorry, you got me talking about fruits I like. I got it. Yeah, I will stop. I will stop. I'm sorry.
I don't even remember what my fucking point was.
I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is that it's apples to oranges. You're comparing it to the Nets trade with the Paul Pierce trade. Stupid trade. Tons of picks. Nets fans were excited because they were trying to go all in, and I understand that as well. But it was the wrong move. The Suns getting Durant for all these picks, wrong move. You know, you got freaking Harden. Like it's just there's so many trades where you're giving up these players when your team is in their 30s. The Knicks are not that. The Knicks saw Mikal Bridges, who's going to come into a team with all of the guys that he's already played with. There is no learning curve there. There is zero.
I agree.
And OG Anunoby's already friends with them as well. And they've all been together. Hartenstein was a hit. And I'm not going to lie. That was a hit. But Mitchell Robinson is better than Isaiah Hartenstein. And you know that. I've said this on this podcast and on Twitter that I've said that before Hartenstein left.
Totally agree. I also agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it's more of I don't trust him to always be there would be my concern.
I agree. That's the scary part. No, totally agree. And that's why they need a backup center. They need a backup center. I think
you had a really good point when we were doing this podcast and we were talking about the Nets and the Knicks and Sixers. You said what makes the Knicks so dangerous is they have 2 starting centers. And I was like, you're right. Yeah. They don't anymore.
No.
And Mitch is not reliable. I mean, he just isn't. I mean, this is not me trolling.
They're gonna have to play small at times with Randall and Hart and they'll probably bring Precious back and whatever.
Tibbs is gonna have to be okay with moving Randall to the 5 because you have the flexibility
with OG and
Mikal,
yes,
and Josh, right? You have that flexibility where you can do that. So I do think he'll have to be less stubborn on that. Let's be real here. The Knicks, they're gonna add a center, but it's not going to be to the level of what Hardenstein became. And remember, when they signed him, there wasn't this excitement from Knicks fans. Hey, we signed Isaiah Hardenstein. It was like, okay, he's good. This is a nice signing, but he developed and he did become a Knicks good player. And I won't be one of those people because I'm, as much as you might think that I'm not being that tonight, I'm not being a Knicks troll. I don't think that he was a product of, oh, the Knicks hype machine. If you're good in New York, look how much money you can get elsewhere. He was really good for the Knicks. I mean, firsthand, I watched those games. He did a really good job. I think did he get a little overpaid? Sure, but everybody
a little, he got a,
But he really proved himself. And you know who he should be giving a big hug to?
Mitchell
Jalen
Robinson.
Brunson. Well, Mitch for getting hurt. Jalen Brunson made him a real. Jalen Brunson is that good of a player where he makes the other people around him better. And that's what I think makes him special is, yes, he's a great scorer, but it's his ability to make somebody like Hardenstein that much better. So he helped him get that contract. But I I do think that is a big blow for the Knicks. I don't think it means they can't win a championship. But I do think when you get into the minutia of it, right? Like you don't have him and you're battling Embiid, and now Mitch is, you have to go to Randall and he can't, getting into these, like these are the real conversations that Knick fans are going to have. And kudos to you. You're in a title spot, right? It's, well, can Randall cover Embiid in the post? This is the problems you have.
I know Mitch can. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but is he healthy? Can he play the minutes? All the
is
things
Embiid
I
healthy?
Talked about. That's another part of it.
That's why I'm not buying Philly.
If I had to pick between the Knicks and Philly, I would pick the Knicks, Alex. But I will say, I do think that what Paul George provides Embiid and provides the Philly fans, who's a fan base that's excited now, is Maxi's ascending.
He's a star.
Embiid's Embiid. He sucks in the playoffs, but Paul George's going to take a little bit of that pressure off. And I mean, it helps. It does.
Right. It does.
He's better than I know you put out there, like Shaq on the Suns. He's better than that.
Oh no, that's just trolling. That's just teasing. Yeah.
I mean, that's just teasing. Shaq on the Suns.
I think he could be like Paul Pierce on the Nets. I'm not kidding with that.
I mean, where he takes a step back on the Nets, he's better than Paul Pierce.
It's only a year younger than what Paul Pierce was, man. And that year before, that's when the Knicks beat him in the first round. So,
But Paul Pierce on the Nets was, well, no, you're
one
right.
round,
right.
like that's it. Yeah, that's all.
You're right. I mean,
13 points a game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know this episode we got feisty, and I wasn't going to back down. I just wasn't. I don't like that the Nets help the Knicks. I never will, and I won't hide from that. But if you were to remove the Knicks and it was anybody else in the NBA, you'd be like, oh, good trade. The Nets now can restart their organization.
It wouldn't have been
restarted. True.
Honestly, I can't say that. It would have been a great trade for any team in the NBA because it depends on the team. If they traded him to a team that was young and ready to win, I don't think it's such a great trade. Like I said, because the picks aren't as valuable. But you can't do anything with them.
But here's why I will say you can make all the points you want about the picks. Mikal Bridges isn't superstar. He's a really good.
They don't need
player.
him to be.
Right. The Knicks don't need him to be. But the Nets got back all those assets for a guy that, and I'm not and I've said this. The Knicks can win a title, so it makes sense. But the Nets got back a haul like they traded somebody that was. And that's what I'm trying to say. And I understand that the picks might not be perfect and land in these spots. But the Nets traded Mikal Bridges. They didn't trade Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving. The Nets got more back for Mikal Bridges than they did for the other two guys.
Well, the Knicks, they valued, like Ian Begley said on The Fan last weekend, and I think I sent that to you, and I posted it on Twitter at Knicks Central, that the Nets the Knicks have been calling the Nets for Bridges for a year, basically. Like, hey, we want him. They said, no chance. And then they were finally ready to deal him, and another team had a good deal, and then the Knicks beat it, and the Nets just couldn't say no. So it was a tax. It was a in-city tax, like we said on the last episode. And you know what? The Knicks, they just like OG Anunoby had the Knicks over a barrel because, they traded quickly in RJ, two fan favorites that are really good players. And OG won so much while he was on the floor and was such a perfect fit. They had to pay him. They had him by, he had him by the balls.
Totally.
And
agree.
Just like with Bridges, the Nets had the Knicks by the balls because the Knicks really wanted Bridges. Brunson and Hart and Dante and everybody wanted Bridges and Bridges wanted to go there.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
He didn't demand the trade. I don't think he demanded a trade. I think he said, between these two teams, whatever the other team was, of course I want to go to the Knicks, and I don't blame him. And it's not just because it's to play with his friends. It's because the Knicks are awesome. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. And,
it is the circumstance of it. I mean, it is the perfect scenario. I mean, it really is, right? Like your best friends who won a national championship at college are there. You're in the same city where your team stinks and you can see how
in
fun
the
it
shittier
is.
borough. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not going there. There's many people that think Brooklyn is a better borough than Manhattan. I'm not talking about the basketball. I'm just talking about the living and whatever.
But it's like Manhattan is Manhattan, and then Brooklyn's
it's the Knicks.
Yeah.
No, but it's his best friends are right across the river having all this fun, and he's in Brooklyn where the fans don't like him.
Right.
He doesn't like Twitter thing.
He doesn't want to be there. Fans turned on him real quick, and that's it. And rightfully so. It. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
And I don't blame him. See,
right.
I don't blame him because he was put in a tough position as well, where
shitty coaches.
No. Well, even before the Kevin Durant, he was the centerpiece of the Durant trade,
right?
Of the player part of it, and the Net fan saw how good he was early and got this false sense of hope, like he could become our guy. So there was a lot of expectations on his shoulder, and when he fell flat, Net fans turned on him, and that wasn't fair because I like Mikal's a really good player, but he's not a superstar that can lead your team. So there was unfair expectations there, and that's what kind of led to this weirdness in New York. I mean, he is. I agree with everything. He is the perfect fit there. He knows the area. He can defend. He makes so much sense on the basketball court. He's gonna be so much. Like, to me, this is what's gonna happen with Mikal. This is what I really, really deep down think. He's gonna be awesome, and then he's gonna fuck up in a spot where you're like, God damn it, Mikal. Like, he's going to be so good. He's going to have great games. He's going to game where he's 27. He's going to defend. And then in a big spot, he's going to go 3 for 11. You go, what the fuck happened? That's what I think from what I've seen.
Maybe. But he also, with the Suns, he helped them get to the finals. So, and they came close to winning it all.
Totally true.
In that finals against Giannis.
Totally true. So,
and he was a big part of that team. He wasn't just some role player. He was a huge part of that team. Yeah.
He's not a role player. He's not a superstar. He is somewhere in between on the star fringe of it. He's a B plus,
but he could get better too.
He could get better.
Look at Jalen Brunson.
Agreed.
He could get better.
He's in
playing with his boys. Maybe he takes that step.
That's why I think it was a really good trade for the Knicks. I don't disagree with that.
But if the Knicks like, this is not directed at you, because I know you don't want to see the Knicks do well and you hate this trade, but that it was to the Knicks. You hate that the trade was to the Knicks. You love the trade on paper, and you're trying to ignore that it was to the Knicks.
I have to.
But I
have to look at the organization and be like, well, I mean, I can't.
By the way, you just cut me off again.
I can't ignore the idea. I can't ignore the idea. I have to look forward to my franchise.
No, I know. I'm just saying, and I said it on the last episode. I'm just busting your balls with that one. I had to get you back and get you mad because you got me mad. So
you said on this podcast you would make me cry, and clearly the opposite happened.
Oh, I was kidding, dude.
Well,
I said you were crying. I didn't say I would make you cry. I said Mike was crying. That's all. Oh, that's why you got angry, huh? That's why you wanted blood.
No,
on this
I just
episode,
remembered it. I'm waiting for the response.
I don't even remember. What was the point? What was I saying?
I don't know.
What was I saying? What were we saying?
I have no idea. The funny thing is, people will be like, oh, Mike and Alex really mad. I really don't give two flying fucks. It actually feels good to just yell at you.
No, we're usually like on the same page on like a lot of
things.
We
are. I mean, we disagree on this
because we're level-headed fans. But now I got it. So I said this on the last episode, and I'm going to say it again. And this isn't directed at you, but there's a lot of Nets fans out there that I think are saying, I don't care that Mikal Bridges went to the Knicks, and I don't care if the Knicks win. But guess what? The Knicks win, and they win 55, 60 games, and they get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Dare I say the finals? Dare I say win the championship? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear you complain to the Nets for trading Bridges to the Knicks. I don't want to hear that you got all these great picks. I don't want to hear you complain about Sean Marks trading Bridges to the Knicks. That's all I'm saying. And that's to Nets fans, not you, Mike Biseglia, or Evan Roberts, who I know didn't want that either. So
you can't. Yeah. Can I talk?
Yes.
Cool.
You got I'll pass you the talking stick. Yes,
I don't think Net fans can then be like afterwards, oh, this happened. You can't do that. If it happens, it happens. Like I said before, if this trade happened to, let's just say, Timberwolves, Denver,
right.
Do you think I'd care if they whatever?
No, congrats to Minnesota. Yeah, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care at all. I would say to the Net, I do think there are Net fans that maybe don't care as much, like legit.
Younger fans don't really care. Yeah.
But I will say this. There's a point in someone's life, if you're a Net fan, where you realize the Knicks suck. You don't want them there. And this happened for me years ago. I do think that this is a crossroads for the younger Net fan that doesn't. Let me put it this way. I don't think those Net fans dislike the Knicks as much, but I think what happened on that day will instigate it. So in 10 years from now, 20 years from now, they have the same passion and disdain and anger that I have, that they will have. And that was their crossroads moment. Because if you think about it too, if you're a younger Net fan, I mean, what really is there, right? Like for the Net Nick, like there's really not much. Unfortunately, I mean, you and I wish there was more, but when the Knicks were good, the Nets, there's never really been both teams really being good at the same time.
Never. It's one or the other.
When the Nets moved to Brooklyn.
Besides the Melo year, they were both good that year, but
there's never really been that.
Yeah.
I do think, Alex, that moment that trade happened, to your point, that crossroads has happened, where there's gonna be more of that. And I think in 3 to 5 years, the Net Nick rivalry will be the best it's ever been because of what happened on that trade. Because the Nets hit the reset button and, knock on wood, get better with younger talent. Guys come here, develop, and make it for a good team. And the Knicks at that point, in 3 to 5 years, will be an older team going in the other direction. That you have a good rivalry. I think that trade has sparked it, and I think it sparked fans that maybe don't know how much they hate the Knicks, but I think in real time, and they might be denying it, Alex, to your point. But I think you're right. In real time, they're going to learn how much they don't like the Knicks. There's a rooting interest for it now, too, right? With the draft picks going to Brooklyn.
That's why this podcast is going to be so great for the future. And
I won't cut you off.
The Nets, so in the 90s, what kicked off the 90s run was them hiring Pat Riley, right? And there were obviously there are a lot of moves, but Pat Riley set the precedent and the Knicks took off. Right, for the rest of the decade. Right now, the Knicks have already been good for the last 3 out of the last 4 years. The first year, let's throw that out because it was the COVID year, 4 seed, whatever, lost in the first round. Right, next year they stunk. The Jalen Brunson era, right, kicked off like maybe the new 90s, and now the Nets trade with Mikal Bridges may have kicked off the Knicks to go to that level where they were in the 90s for the next 7 years. Right, it could. And it might not, and whatever, your picks are going to be great, right? So like it might have taken off for there, and then Nets fans, the younger Nets fans, are going to see what it's like to be Mike Biseglia or Evan Roberts and growing up in the 90s. Have to bring
Evan
and bring it in. I'm bringing him up. Because he feels just like you, and people will know how he feels too, and they're going to see what it's like for the Knicks to be this dominant team because the Nets are going to take a couple years to be good. So like they're going to be 2 or 3 years where
that's the idea, yeah.
And like, unless they get Cooper Flag and he's the next Wemby, and like, even with Wemby in the first year, then the Spurs sucked. So like, there's going to be 2 or 3 years there where the Nets aren't going to be good, guaranteed, for the most part.
Agreed.
And if the Knicks go on to win a championship or in the Eastern Conference Finals 3 years in a row, or even the finals, and even if they don't win and you're sitting there sucking and your trade made the Knicks this great, you're going to fucking hate the Knicks. And I don't want to hear that. Oh, we got 6 picks, whatever. No, like,
but
that's all I'm saying. That's all I've been trying to say. This
Agreed. See, I agree with you. Both can be true, though.
Right.
That can suck, and it can also help the franchise get better.
Okay.
And both can be true. Like, let's say they get flagged. Then let's say they rebuild, and they have a trajectory to be better, and the Knicks win. Both happened. And you could also the Nets could be better, and you could hate the Knicks. It doesn't have to be.
And Nets can get flagged, and he sucks.
Sure. Or the Knicks could not win and Mikal Bridges could be bad. Like all of it. But all of it can be true at the same time. But from the idea of, did the Nets get the best possible trade for a guy that's very good? It's a very good NBA player. I don't know. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Did it help the Knicks? The answer is yes, too. Which sucks. I mean, it just sucks. And that's why when the trade happened, I was miserable about it because I know what it can lead to. But now you might call it coping. I call it moving forward. What am I supposed to do? Just be miserable and be like, well,
it sucks.
I mean, they have a few. The Nets do have a future, which they do. Are the Nets better they're not better. Do the Nets have a better future today, Alex, than they did before they made the Bridges trade?
Yes, they do. They do. It's not as guaranteed as the Knicks future, but the Nets do have a better future now that they got rid of Bridges and got the draft picks. Better chance. Sure. Incremental chance.
Totally.
Better. But that's we're gonna go down this road again. What level of chance is it? I don't know. The Knicks might not win because of injuries, but guess what? They're set up to win, and blah 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 blah. Rewind the podcast. You could hear our argument again.
I'm good. That was fun. That was still not as angry as the RJ Barrett episode.
No, that was after level. I drank wine then too. See, I got to stop or drink wine, and it brings out my anger.
I had a drink too, Alex. I can't deny it.
Yeah. Listen, whatever. We're not on the radio. We can drink. It's the 4th of July. We're doing an episode. We had to do it because the trade was finally. We're sitting here texting yesterday or this morning, and we're like, whenever the trade gets finalized, then we'll jump on. Whenever that is, even if it's Saturday, then we'll do the next because it's stupid to do an episode about like Hartenstein. Like, who gives a fuck at this point? So like, let's wait for the trade to be finalized, and it's gonna be finalized by Saturday. And we're like, all right. And then it's like, oh, of course, July 4th. Thanks a lot.
It would have been nice to get Deuce McBride. I mean, I was wrong.
That would have gotten me mad. That would have got me mad.
I was wrong to think the Nets had a chance. I look stupid there.
I would say, give me some picks back. Give me a pick or two back if you want Deuce. You know what I mean? Like that's.
I mean, I could make an argument that Deuce has a better ceiling than Mikal. You could.
I don't know about that, but is a better contract. He's making like $4 or $5 million a year for 3 years. Like the production.
Oh, man, it's gonna be so much fun rooting against you. It really will. Mm-hmm. It really will. It truly will.
I just don't want to hear people. It's okay to say you're wrong. Like, let's say Nets fans are like, not you. Let's say the Nets fans who are like so happy that the Knicks, they don't care that they traded Mikal to the Knicks and the Knicks are going to be awesome, right? Let's say they're awesome. I don't want to hear people saying like killing Sean Marks. Just say, you know what? I was wrong. That sucked. Trading him to the Knicks sucked. Like, it would have been better to trade him somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. That's all I'm saying.
I'm on the
even if they got a pick or two less, it would have been better to trade somewhere else.
I would prefer that.
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
I would rather that he went somewhere else and the Nets had less.
Got 4 picks. Right.
4 picks and it wasn't the Knicks.
Right.
I would prefer that.
Even Boston.
I'm not denying that.
Boston.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Alex,
Boston's already winning, right? Like, it's like
Alex Boston has 18 titles. They win all the time. I don't care.
Right.
I don't want to see the Knicks win. They haven't won in my lifetime.
Right.
I mean, I know, I understand. Like when these are the Twitter.
These are the days.
How many titles do you have? I say I have 0. How many titles have you seen in your life? I mean, what does it matter?
0.
Like, honestly, if I say like Alex, you and I have seen 0 championships from our NBA teams.
Right.
Are you more prideful that the Knicks won before you were born? Like, doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm happy that they did. So I'm not like I'm not like a team that's never won. Like even the Jets, I'm glad they had their one day in the sun with Joe Namath putting his finger up.
But
it's better than nothing.
But you weren't alive. Who cares?
I wasn't.
What does it matter?
Right. The Knicks are 5th all time in finals appearances in NBA history. It doesn't mean anything. That's why it's always like the Knicks are a joke of a franchise, and I bring that stat up, and then everything.
Right. They've been a joke. More not
in the in this century. Yes, in this century. Yeah.
I mean, who cares? I mean, that's
24 years.
Well, the Nets don't have a championships. You and I have seen the exact amount of titles.
But the Nets, they have a championships, just not in this league. That's all.
I just don't understand that. Also,
we're on the same page.
I'm so sick of this. I put out all these net videos or Nick videos, and they do really well. And I get all these quote tweets, and there are all these Nick fans that are yelling at me. I need to become a bigger star on Twitter where all my Nick quote tweets are from people that have Twitter followers under 400 people. I need to get to a point where I get Nick quote tweets from people that have no avatar, and I'll have 327 fucking people. I'm like, if you're going to quote tweet me, oh, great. Some Nick fan put me down. And then I look, I'm like, oh my God, it's Deuce McBride. No, it's not. And they're like 327 followers. It's always an avatar of somebody else with no followers. I don't know how I can do a better job of actually getting anger from Knicks fans that matter, and it's annoying me that the only Knicks fans that come back at me are people that are irrelevant, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, no, that I hear you. I hear you. I was just laughing because as you're saying that, I'm thinking about my tweet about Paul Pierce and Paul George that got like 5 million views, and
Crazy.
Evan Turner, Evan Turner quote tweeted me.
See, that's great. I'm jealous.
Hey, man,
That's
he
good.
took that tweet. The tweet was already at like over 1 million, but he took that one to the fucking next stratosphere because his one went viral too. And I was like, hang the banner. He's like, Paul Pierce on the Nets put on 29 points and 13 shots or some shit. I'm like, oh, hang the banner, dude. Like, who fucking
you should, he should have been like, maybe you should have played better. Like, I don't know.
Other people did. They trashed him. Like, well, that's because you were guarding him, motherfucker. Like, yeah, like shit like that.
I know.
That's Twitter.
It's a tough spot for Evan Turner, who obviously is, second pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah. What if the Nets end up with an Evan Turner and then they tanked for Evan Turner type player? You know what I'm saying?
They have 4 chances.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean the Nets have a future, man. They do.
Yeah.
Both. That's what I'm saying. Both can be true.
They have hope.
The Nets have hope. The Nets have hope.
They didn't have hope before. They have hope.
If I went into this,
less hope than the Knicks, but they have hope.
Well, it's a different kind of hope. The Knicks are a title contender.
The Nets are climbing up the mountain now, right? They're climbing up the mountain.
Right? Yeah. If the Nets, let's say they didn't trade Mikal, and this was their team, you'd be like, and they didn't make the Rockets trade. I'd be like, we're gonna win 30 games and just.
What are we doing? Wasting time.
Now at least you're right. Those guys might not be good, but they're not stuck. They're not stuck anymore. And it's the Knicks that unstuck them.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But at least, they unstuck them. And I'm frustrated because I won't deny this. The Knicks are good enough to win a championship. I'm not saying they will. In the heat of the battle, I probably said the Sixers might be better. I don't. They're in the nuance of it takes luck, it takes skill, but they're a team that if all the things go their way, have the ability, right? Like, do you need help? Do you need health? All of this is true, but they're one of the teams I would say it's in the mix where if things go their way, could get to the finals. Absolutely, and I hate that, but absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that there might be something. I'm going to ask you this question because I have my feelings, and I think that this is true. That the Nets wanted to. Do you think the Nets wanted to patch this together and get a Trae Young, get a Donovan Mitchell, and then they realized that they probably heard through the grapevine that the Hawks were going to trade Murray and that Mitchell was staying, and they said, "Oh fuck, we have nothing to patch this together. Let's blow this up."
I do, and I think at that point once they got the offer for Mikal, and they were like, "We're never going to get this again."
We got to do it.
Yeah. I don't think. I think they originally wanted to get Donovan Mitchell, and it didn't happen.
Yeah,
and I credit at least the Nets organization for making a direction, right? Like just doing it. It might not work. But you can't be stuck. You can't be. I totally think that happened. I don't think this is the original plan. I think they wanted to go with adding a star around Mikal, but I think this was ultimately the right decision to make to blow it up.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm more excited to Alex for this season than I am if they didn't make Mikal. Like at least, I'm talking about on the court too. At least I can say Cam Thomas, Noah Clowney, Tariq Whitehead, who they drafted last year. And I know I'm saying
another Whitehead, Isaiah Whitehead, another Whitehead in a bad Nets year, right?
But Tariq from Duke, who was a first round pick last year that was hurt. I mean, I'm not saying that. At least it can be the young. At least
you didn't get that TikTok star that's on the Sixers now. That would fucking
see. Now you're interrupting. Now you're interrupting me nonstop. I mean, you are. I'm excited that I can just see the young net players come and play and develop.
Yeah.
And be bad and get first round picks. The Nets have 4 first round picks next year. They're going to be bad. And I can watch young players develop. At least it's something.
Yeah.
And because you know that Cam Johnson right now is on this roster. He's going to be
forgot about him. Wow. I totally forgot about him.
So Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
Dorian Finney-Smith. Both those guys. Good players.
Probably deadline deals. Yeah.
They're off-season deals.
You think so?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Dorian Finney-Smith or Cam Johnson will be Sixers. They're going to trade these guys. They're going to trade him to
Sixers.
contenders.
Yeah. Maybe
Like,
OKC, get some more picks. You know what
right,
I mean? Like,
right. They're good.
yeah.
Bogdanovich, they're going to make trades. These guys will, Dennis Schroeder, these
Yeah.
guys are not going to be here.
They're guys that want to be
They're
on,
good,
they have pride. They want to be on teams that are at least trying. They're
and
not tanking. Yeah.
and they're also those guys, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Schroeder, Bogdanovich. Those guys aren't great players, but they're good players. As Alex yawns and gets bored of my conversation, he didn't interrupt me, but he yawned. They're good players that are part of, and they're part of championship teams at the end, right? Or maybe Cam Johnson a little bit higher. I think he's a little bit higher. He's not a star, but Cam Johnson, for example, on the Sixers or Cam Johnson on the Bucks make sense. Those guys will be traded 100%, and they'll get value back. And the question Sean Marks is going right now is, do I wait to trade them? When do I do it? How do I get the most value back? Because it's about the future and it's about, winning in not now.
You just have to be careful. And this, we can end it with this because we're going really long. But
no, I wanted to ask about your fourth.
We can do it all night. We can do an all-nighter podcast.
Let's keep going.
But
this would be.
You have to be careful. Yeah, this would have been. You have to be careful as a tanking team to have all players that just are young and are bad. No, young and not bad, just young and developing. You need some vets there. You need somebody to teach these kids how to be professionals. You need like not him, but like a Taj Gibson at the end of the end of his career, like somebody there that has seen it all and done it all and is not cares about winning, but just wants to be in the league and is happy to practice and teach these kids. Shake Milton, yes, yeah, like a Derrick Rose. I know he retired, but like somebody like that at the end of the career, like look who like Quickly had and who else was it that was on like Deuce McBride. So he was on whose podcast was it? The Patrick Beverley's podcast on Barstool, and he was saying like the guys that he had, and we talked about this like on the podcast, like. We thought, well, for Quickly, like, look at the guys that maybe it helped him too, but look at the guys that he had to look up to. Kemba Walker, Derrick Rose, even Alfred Payton been around the block. Like, they had these guys that were there that were stars. Like, not Alfred Payton, but you know what I mean? Like, that were mega stars, like MVPs of the league, teaching these kids how to ball. And it helped them. And it helped Deuce McBride stay ready that when his number was called, he hit the ground running. He wasn't like, I'm not ready. I haven't played in 2 months. He was like, I'm ready. Like, let's go. And he hit it and he went. You need a guy like that. The Nets need a guy like that. And I don't know if these guys that are already there are those guys. I don't know if they're probably too young for that, but they need to find somebody there. Like the Sixers in the process years, they made that mistake. They didn't have anybody on the team. And Okafor had no guidance. And I mean, he might have stunk anyway, but you know what I mean? That's
two parts. And when you said process, it reminded me because we went the whole podcast without saying it. Yeah. One, I completely agree with you. I think Dennis Schroeder is the guy. I think Cam Johnson and DFS have the value, right? Like DFS 3-and-D guy makes sense. Cam Johnson, more than that. Ben Simmons is on the Nets. Like he is.
He's going to show up. Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
send them home. I don't just be like, go home, dude.
But
like,
I don't think
we won't find you. Just get the fuck out of here.
He's got 1 year left on his contract. It's worth $40 million.
It's insane.
At this point, you and I disagreed about it in the past, but now stretching out that $40 million when he's an expiring, you just got to let it sit.
Let it go now. Yeah.
But for me, he can't be there. He's not. He's
a cancer.
He's
a cancer.
Play.
Yeah.
Just if you can trade him and use that to acquire picks, and it's I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You might get a second round pick for him or something, but I don't even know. That's such a big contract that you might not even be able to get. You might buy him out in the middle of the year or something. Just whatever
get the hell
it
out of here. Yeah,
but he's still there. I mean, the sad thing is, Alex, the Nets are going to start next year, and he's going to get minutes. It'll be okay. You know what's going to happen. He's going to
have those games, make those diving plays and the passes. And
it would just be so much better if he just didn't have to show up. It's so depressing that he has to even come there. But
so how many wins do you think the Knicks will have this year? July 4th, 2024 season
is such a big thing for them. The number that jumped in my head was 54.
It's fair. That's fair. That is very fair. That's a fair guess.
I
I don't know
think,
what the over under is. I don't think it's out yet, but
but that's probably high. I think though that there's, I think the Celtics are the Celtics. I'm not going to go into why they can win.
Because they're good.
Philly added Paul George. Philly can win. I mean, they can.
Yeah.
Milwaukee had really bad luck. They can win. Indiana is a year older. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They can win. Orlando is a young team that's getting better. Orlando's going to be a team that nobody talks about that's going to win. Cleveland is there. Like the East is good. There's a lot of good teams in the East. There's a lot of good teams. I think there's 4 or 5 teams that could go to the finals from the East, and the Knicks are definitely one of them.
Yeah, right now they don't have the win-loss here in the on DraftKings, but the Knicks are 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th highest odds to win the championship. Right?
Where are they in the East?
In the East, so above them to win the titles, obviously Boston, Philly, OKC, Denver, and then the Knicks, and then Minnesota's after them. And then
OKC to me is the team that should be in the finals.
Right. Last year was learning, we'll see.
All of them are so young. They are so young. They add Hardenstein, they add Caruso.
And Shai's not even that young. He's been around the block now.
No, he's the star.
Yeah.
And Chet's getting older. Williams they've got OKC's there, man.
Yeah, they are. And so the Knicks are 3rd in the Eastern Conference. So it's Boston is plus 150, Sixers are plus 400, Knicks are plus 450. So it's Knicks and Sixers are so close. Yeah, Milwaukee plus 600, and then it's Heat, Cavs, Magic, Pacers, Hawks, Bulls. Jeez. And then you can get plus 60,000 for the Nets to win the Eastern Conference.
I'll do that. What's crazy is the Bucks. No one is going to be talking about, like last year.
It was all Bucks.
It was all Bucks. They were the one. They could be sneaky under the radar because, I mean, it's Giannis.
And not even under the radar with these 2 mega stars.
Right. If they get going, you could see Knicks Bucks second round.
Oh, yeah.
And like that could be a thing. And nobody's talking about the Bucks because all they added was Torian Prince.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the team's kind of stale. It's boring. You know what I mean? Because,
You done? Or what do you think of Bronny James, Alex?
I think my thoughts on that. Anybody. There's got to be something like, they were showing shots. Crazy. Bryce James now that the other son is getting shots up at the gym. He's supposed to be better than Bronny. All right. So they say.
So he'll be a Laker.
So he'll be a Laker. How long's LeBron? And he signed the max contract. It's such a joke. The Lakers are a joke. If I was a Lakers fan, I'd be so pissed. Like, what are we doing?
It's embarrassing. What I mean? It really isn't.
It really is.
It really is embarrassing. I mean, I can't.
It's not like he's winning 7, like a dynasty right now, and they're like, all right, let his son come on. But sorry, go ahead. I cut you off.
No, it's tough because it's LeBron James and they want to do right for him, and he's done so much for the NBA.
Yeah,
but giving his son a multi-year deal, which never happens for a pick in the
second
50s,
round pick,
but it's gonna be awesome. I told this to you in text. I said I can't wait for it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. Is he gonna play? Like,
I'm sure he's going to be on the roster. Maybe he's not going to be in the G League because he's like a guaranteed deal, right? I guess he can go back and forth. He'll probably have some because he's a second round pick. I don't know how that works, but
LeBron doesn't care about winning a title anymore. I
no,
think for him,
if I was Anthony Davis, I'd want to get the fuck out of there.
That's the guy. He's got to be like, I mean, my
Nets next year, man. You got the money when Simmons off the books and make the trade. You have all these picks. Get Anthony Davis next year. You get Cooper Flag and Anthony Davis, and the Nets are back next year.
That'd be the seat.
Now we're talking, right?
But like for example, if let's say, honest question, if I said you didn't get Mikal Bridges, but the February deadline came and Anthony Davis is playing great basketball,
he's like, get me out of here. Yeah,
he's just Anthony Davis. He's doing his thing. Would you rather have that trade for AD?
No, I don't want Anthony Davis. I don't like Anthony Davis.
At the deadline, you're like, we're going for a title. We can do it now with Anthony. You rather have Mikal Bridges?
I would, because I think Anthony Davis is always injured as well, and he's so highly paid. It wouldn't fit. You'd have to blow up the whole roster to get him. It wouldn't work. He's like one of those super mega max deals, and it's like one of those guys, like typical NBA player.
Player to player.
All things equal, then that's a different conversation completely.
That's
sure.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not reality. So, I mean, anyway,
good?
so you want to talk about the debate?
No, I'm done. I'm done. That was a long ass episode.
That was, but it was
Is this
good.
going
It
out
was good.
tonight?
That's up to you. You're the producer.
I don't know if I wanted.
I think it should. I think it should. I think we should get it out if you can. If you can. It's a
All
long
right, we'll see.
processing process.
This will be long. All right. This has been Bad Weather Fans. Talk to you later, Alex.
Thanks, Mike. I love you.
Yep. You should.